let's talk about seam sealer. What is it? What's it do? Why is it there? What color is it? So many questions. So, right here is a seam. The metal on the floor connects to the metal on the side. No matter how good of a metal worker you are, there's going to be a gap. So seam sealer is this. It goes in there, fills that gap, and seals it. That way, if this is left outside in the rain and the carpet gets soaked, it won't soak down into this into the seam, causing more rust. So the way this car is made, there's 1 billion miles of seams. So I'm going to seal them up as best I can using this. I also have, I'm going to try these. They're little flexible, I don't know what, silicone probably. I use them in when I'm doing silicone in the bathrooms, because they have nice little corners on them. You can pick which profile you want, and then you put your caulk or your seam sealer down, scrape it off. I haven't used it with seam sealer before. Actually, I've never used this seam sealer before. So I'm gonna have to see how it works. I imagine it doesn't work exactly like silicone. Silicone has some strange properties that are fun, but I am gonna try to use one of these to give all the seams a nice profile. So let's give it a go. Not bad. And then I'm gonna get some tissues to wipe that off. You just keep going with it. When it gets a little gumpy and starts squirting out the sides, clean it off. In theory, you could leave it on there. You don't have to do the scraping bit. I just want it to look nice. I don't believe, I know this is not how they did it originally. I have seen concourse restoration videos where they talk about this, and they say the cars were painted first, and they went around with black seam sealer afterwards. Which, yeah, that's cool. But this product's modern products, they say to do primer, sealer, paint. So that's what I'm doing. I'm not doing this to be a concourse restoration. I want this to be a good, solid car that you can drive and have fun with. So that's where I'm going with it. Anyway, that sealed up that seam. There's 1 billion miles more to do. I'm not going to make you watch that because your time is valuable, as mine is. I'll show you when I'm done. It'll look a bit different. Right now you can see like little black connecting lines, and then when I'm done, it'll be like this, where it's all kind of blends together. It'll feel more solid. This stuff, by the way, comes in many colors, many different brands as well. Comes in black and gray and white, obviously. Not sure what else. Those are the 3 primary colors for bodywork. Sorry, the church bells are going crazy, but I thought I'd give you another example of a good place for the seam sealer. Here is the front wheel well. What side? It's upside down, but here's the front. And the way it's made, there's 2 pieces of metal, and then they're squished together. They have the seam back here, which leaves this wonderful V-shaped groove right above the wheel for water to get splashed up into it, and then the seam can rust out real easy. So I'm gonna squirt this in there and show you how to seal it. I'm very happy with the consistency of the seam sealer. It's a lot like acrylic caulk that you use before you paint a wall to fill up any holes. After college, I worked briefly with a house painter, Tony, and Tony taught me how to paint houses. We worked on multi-million-dollar houses in a very rich part of Connecticut, and he used to say, we used to have caulk guns on the. We used to keep them on the ladder. If you found a little nail hole or something, you grab the caulk gun and fill it up. And he used to say, if you don't hire a good carpenter, hire a good painter. Meaning that if the joints aren't nice and tight, if you hire a good painter to come and fill them all in. I think the same applies here. Though this is an original seam. Oops. So I've gone to just using my finger. The little paddles I was using, they're nice, they're decorative, they make it all perfectly smooth and stuff, but it's slow too. A lot of cleanup with that. Here I didn't get quite enough caulking. Seam sealer in there. Fill it up some more. Not my seam. Well, I guess it is, but I didn't make it. This is the fender. This fender had some damage to it. Some waves I had to take out, so that probably opened up the seam a little bit more than normal. The only problem with using your finger, well, this stuff you don't want to go au naturel. You want to use a glove. It's got some yucky stuff in it. But the only problem is you eventually start burning to the fingertip. You end up with this stuff on your fingers, which isn't good. So keep an eye on that. Alright, so now that's sealed. That's how it works. Water won't get into that seam and won't rust it out. So today I had some paint touch-ups to do, so I did those. Now I had some extra time while I wait for it to dry. So I thought I'd get started on the next step. The next step, once I get the chassis done, the inner body, is to add all the accessories back on it. And this is really how I'm thinking about this car now. The inner body, the chassis, is the car, and everything else that goes on it is an accessory, including the engine, the transmission, the wheels, all of it accessories. It's more about the size of the things that are going back on it instead of their functionality. Like an engine's pretty important, but that's just kind of where my mind is right now. Yeah, so that was me sandblasting. Let me grab the other spring and I'll show you the difference. Okay, well, it looks like I still got some more work to do, but one's a little bit shinier than the other. It's a little hard to see in there, but I'm gonna have to work on that. Anyway, working in a blast cabinet as opposed to like over there, my God, it's so much nicer. I'm not full of dust and stuff, and I can breathe. Pretty wonderful. Alright, I know I'm a nerd, but stupid things like this I find kind of cool. So I've been sandblasting this. It goes under the spring. This is a big rubber bumper to keep you from bottoming out. This is one I haven't done yet. But I took off the bumper, and found shiny original paint. This is completely rusted, no paint left on it, except for what was hiding under here. I don't know, I find that cool. There you go, before and after. The spring on the left still needs cleaned up a bit, but there you go. So here I am prepping for paint, and I found something interesting I thought I'd share with you. Down in here, I found this stress crack. I've already drilled a relief hole at the tip of it to keep it from spreading any further. But when I first noticed, it was about halfway through. Now it's spread all the way. It's bizarre. It's just happened. I'm not sure exactly why. I imagine this pressed part has quite a bit of stresses in it from being pressed, because it's kind of a crazy shape. Anyway, I thought that was interesting, the first crack like that I've found. I've also added more lights to my paint booth. When I did the primer, I found I missed a lot of spots, and I think that might have been because everything was in shadow. So with more lights, hopefully I have less shadows and I'm able to get it all in one coat. Well, in two coats, but you know what I mean. So the plan last night was to paint the chassis, but that's been delayed. The temperature dropped pretty low, and even though I can, even though I can heat it up a bit, keep the temperature stable with my radiator going into the intake, I don't think it was enough to keep the car as warm as it should be for the paint that I have. So skip that until it warms up a bit. In the meantime, I'm gonna spend some time sandblasting. I'm gonna start with these today. These are the buckets, the back seat buckets. They kind of look like tractor seats to me. It's funny. You can see this stuff on here. In upholstery, we call it horsehair. I don't know if it's actual horsehair or that's just what was traditionally used, but I thought I'd show that. Horsehair's now replaced with, I guess you could still find it, but usually it's polyfill, a polyester squishy stuff, lots of times used in blankets and stuff. And what it does, usually there's a foam base. I don't know if the back seats get foam or not, but usually there's a foam base and then a layer of this polyfill, and that polyfill helps to stretch the final fabric covering, whether it's fabric or vinyl or leather or whatever. It keeps it stretched so it doesn't look like a saggy bag, so it looks like nice and tight and firm. Whatever references you want in there. So that's its purpose, that's what it's for. And the fact that it's glued directly to here makes me think that this didn't have any sort of foam in it. It was just the polyfill, the horsehair, and then the vinyl. So I'm gonna blast these and see how well they clean up. I know I said this before, but I find this work incredibly satisfying. To go from this to this is it's really incredible. Especially when you don't have to have, all the safety gear on. You can see what you're doing, you can breathe, and all that stuff. Yeah, this is fun. So, driving to work this morning, you know how when you see a four-leaf clover, you feel like you're gonna have a lucky day? Well, on the other lane over there, I saw a big Healey, 3000, red with a black side, pretty cool. And then I just passed a truck that, a transport truck, had 4 old school minis on it. It's like, I know it's spring, but I guess it's British car season. Before I sandblast this, I thought I'd just get the big gunk off. While I'm doing that, I thought I should tell you a story. I've gotten a lot of comments like, oh, you should be using this product, or you should be using that product. Oh, I can't believe you didn't use that product. Oh, you're so dumb. Well, I guess I haven't explained something very well. I'm an expatriate. Most of the big Healeys went to the U.S. Now they seem to be coming to Europe. When I first got here, almost 15 years ago, I decided I was going to make some pizza. Pizza, you say? How the hell is that relevant to Big Healey? Well, it's more about the situation I'm in. When I went to the store to make, I was at the store. I wanted to make homemade pizza. So I have to make pizza dough, right? For pizza dough, you need yeast. In America, you go to the store and you buy Fleshman's dry active yeast. No doubt about it. That's the go-to product. Well, I was at the store. All the products are different. So look around, I can't find it. Darn it. So this is before I had a smartphone. So I go home. I went, okay, it's a food product. Most food products are in French because the French know how to cook. Go back to the, I look up yeast in French, and it's like levain. So, okay, I'm armed. I go back to the store, looking around. No, I can't find it anywhere. Fine, I still want to make pizza. I like pizza. My kids like pizza. So, I go back home, get out my German dictionary, look it up. Hefe. All right, now I have the English, the French, and the German. I'm not the kind of guy who's going to ask somebody, So go back to the store. Luckily, there's a little shop not far from my house. It was a nice day. We were walking. So go back to the store, and I finally found Hefe. It was some German brand. That's all that was on the label. This is very much what I have to deal with as I build this car. I see all these great videos online about using these American products, because guess what? Americans rebuild cars. It's in our blood. It's what we do. It's part of our heritage. Over here, there's some people doing it, but it's not nearly what it is in the States. Over here, having a garage is rare, and then you put your primary car in that, not some car that you only drive on the weekends. So I can't get a hold of things like Pour 15. I can't get a hold of things like PPG paint. I don't have a lot of resources. I also live in a very small country in Luxembourg. There's more people doing car restorations here, but it's mostly just rich guys. I'm not a rich guy. I'm not paying somebody else to do this work. I'm doing it. There's no Eastwoods where I can order stuff online. Actually having stuff shipped into Luxembourg from other European countries is often difficult. So these are the things I'm dealing with. And when you add those on top of, a major project like this, it adds to the complexity of it. It adds to the time delay. It adds to the research you have to do. And I don't have really great language skills, so my research is sometimes limited by that. Who I can talk to about things is limited by that. YouTube videos are the ones I watch are mostly American ones, where they're talking about American products. DIY Auto School, guys in America. AVE, he's in America. Old Tony, America. So that's kind of what I'm dealing with. I really appreciate all the wonderful comments and the recommendations that people have sent in. Unfortunately, I've already been there. I've searched for 415 over here to no avail. So I have to use what I can find. So that's kind of my story. That's kind of what I'm dealing with. In the end, I make pizza, but it's, you have to adjust for things. Later on, I found that they have live yeast. They sell live yeast here. That's not something they typically sell in America. So you adjust your recipes, you adjust your projects, and in the end, you end up making it one way or the other, because that's your goal. So I wanted to share that with you. If you like this video, click the like button below. If you want to come along on the ride as we complete this project, click the subscribe button. If you want to make sure Google reminds you every time there's a new video, click the alarm bell. Your support is very much appreciated.